That's right, we're doing this. So Disney, as you may know, have been reimagining, one might say, some of their classic animated films, either through prequels or sequels or remakes or whatever. To be fair, they started doing that a while ago, but ever since Tim Burton's Alice in Wonderland, there's just been a wave of those movies, and since banking on those old properties has earned Disney enough dinero, they're not gonna stop. They're just not gonna stop. It's no secret that even though those movies typically kill at the box office, critically, those movies have had more of a mixed reaction, and frankly, they're a mixed bag to say the least. Which is why today we're gonna count down the top 5 best Disney live-action reboots. That's right, the ones that don't melt your eyes as you watch them. And maybe another time I'll do the worst 5, but for now, let's stay positive, alright? Let's talk about the movies you're not necessarily gonna hate, the ones that you can get something out of at least. Just so you know, I am not including the Lion King remake in these because technically it's all CG, so not live action. But for what it's worth, I didn't like it. It's not the worst, it's not the best. I just thought it kind of sucked, but not in any particularly memorable kind of way. It just kind of felt flat for me. Oh, and I'm not counting 101 or 102 Dalmatians because they showed up way before the new batch of remakes, so don't worry about those. P.S. These are my choices, alright? This is my opinion. Your choice is gonna be completely different, and that doesn't make them any less valid. So yeah, please let me know in the comments what your top 5 best Disney live action reboots are. Anyway, here we go, starting with number 5.
Help me!
That is the wrong clip. That is definitely the wrong clip. Number 5, Alice in Wonderland. Didn't expect that, did you? Look, I am well aware that this movie has its share of problems. It's not even Alice in Wonderland, it's like a sequel. It's like an Alice in Wonderland sequel to a movie we've never seen before. Like a Tim Burton movie that just doesn't exist. And I really hate that about this movie. I also think that Mia Wasikowska is extremely bland as Alice, and the plot is a bit of a mess, and not in the fun way that the plot of Alice in Wonderland is a mess. Don't get me wrong, I would always recommend that you go see the original Disney classic before you watch this movie, okay? Every time. Oh my god, it's so much better. But even the worst Tim Burton movie has some cool stuff in it, and this isn't even his worst movie. Visually, this movie is wild. It's not quite as trippy as one might have expected Tim Burton to make it, but still, it's wild. Crispin Glover is bizarre and super tall. Helena Bonham Carter has a hilariously giant head. Tweedledee and Tweedledum are straight out of the Addams Family. Johnny Depp goes into various accents as the Mad Hatter. I'm not sure what Anne Hathaway is doing. It's a lot, but you're never really bored watching this crazy movie. There's always something interesting to look at, random performance to take in. The little montage showing the younger Alice's adventures is pretty cool. There's some dark stuff in there, like Alice jumping on giant cut-off heads or beheading the Jabberwocky. There's enough wacky stuff in there and creativity that, you know what? It's worth a watch. It's all about the production design, the costume design, the makeup effects, all that stuff. And Danny Elfman's score, which is one of his most underrated in my opinion. You might hate it. Alright, I'm telling you right now, you might hate it, but give it a watch. You might have some fun with it. Feel free to skip the sequel though. Ouch. Number 4, Mulan. Going from a roller coaster ride of maddening visuals and weird decisions to just a movie. Yep, it's the Mulan you know, but not really. It's just a movie. It's not a bad movie. It's just a movie. So I'm being a bit vague here, but really, let's be honest, the best thing about this Mulan is that it's not a disaster. It's fine. Sadly, it does take away a lot of what we loved about the original film, the comedy, the songs, some of the character relationships, and instead we get a Mulan movie. It's done quite well. The cast is great. You've got legends like Jet Li, Donnie Yen, Gong Li in there. Liu Yifei did fine in the lead role. The choreography and action is fun. The visuals are appealing enough. There's references to the original film. Ming-Na Wen, who voices Mulan in the animated film, has a cameo. It's perfectly serviceable. Think the movie Hero with Jet Li, just not quite as flashy. It was kind of a flop seeing as it was released during COVID, and it's not the most memorable Disney remake since it's very by numbers, but it's fine, you know, and I'm kind of glad that they just picked a style and went with it instead of trying to please everybody and do everything all at once, not in a coherent way. It could have been worse. Number 3, Dumbo. Even though I really liked Tim Burton, I was very cold about this movie initially. I really love the original Dumbo. To me, it's top tier Disney, okay? It's one of their best films ever. So to sit there and watch a movie that is Dumbo, but it's just okay, was disappointing. I definitely feel like Tim Burton should have and could have easily done better with this movie. There's plot holes, changes to the original story, and stuff added in that I didn't think were all that necessary. The script by Aaron Kruger is mostly to blame, I would say, but again, there's enough there that it makes the movie worth seeing. Dumbo himself is adorable, and the heartfelt moments from the original film are recreated with just as much emotion here. The cast is terrific, with the likes of Michael Keaton, Danny DeVito, Eva Green, Alan Arkin, and Colin Farrell all doing a great job. The visuals, this being a Tim Burton film, are pretty darn cool, as is Danny Elfman's score. And I gotta say, making the villain of the movie the owner of a theme park that is not unlike Disneyland was ballsy, to say the least. Now that was a bold move by the director, you gotta respect that. I have no idea how he got away with it. Oh, and spoilers, the theme park even burns down by the end. Tim Burton burns down Disneyland in this movie, I'm not even kidding. The fact that Tim Burton was able to say fuck you to Disney in a Disney movie he made for them is the ballsiest thing you're likely to see from these reimaginings. If only he'd been this bold and imaginative with the elephants on parade sequence. Imagine how cool it could have been. Instead, it was just kind of like, that's it? I don't know, that one for me is still a tough one to forgive. Number 2, Beauty and the Beast. Funnily enough, I've heard nothing but negative reactions for this movie ever since it came out. And I really don't get it. I mean, I get it. I just don't really get it. This movie takes the opposite approach to Mulan in that it's very nearly a shot-for-shot remake of the animated film. Oh sure, they've added a song or two in there, a mini subplot about Belle's past, but essentially you're getting the same deal here. All the songs are there, it's a full-on musical, everyone's in costume, the furniture talks, it's all there. Now the argument I've heard over and over is, yeah, but if it's the same, then it's just completely unnecessary. Really? Really? A Disney remake is unnecessary? Oh my god. Oh, it never occurred to me. What a bold statement here. Who are you? Freaking Tim Burton? You think? All of these movies are unnecessary, whether they tell the exact same story or not. Well, unless you count Disney making money, or introducing a new generation to old stuff, or pushing CGI to its limits necessary, which someone other than me could argue, I'm sure. Granted, this movie is kind of bland here and there. I'll give you that. Emma Watson really isn't the most charismatic lead they could have picked, and I would have preferred Beast to be a dude in kick-ass makeup rather than this. But it works, you know, it all works fine. It's not as good as the original Beauty and the Beast, but it was never going to be. But the musical numbers are fun, the score gets the right mood, the cast overall is very good and seems to have a good amount of fun. The story is told with gusto and mostly just like in the original. So if you like Beauty and the Beast and you want to see Beauty and the Beast but live action, there you go. There it is. Now, if different is what you want, if you really want to get crazy, There's a TV series out there with Linda Hamilton and Ron Perlman as Beast. There's the original classic Jean Cocteau movie in black and white. There's a couple of lavish French versions, one of them pretty recent. There's a musical from the 80s. There's Beastly, whatever that shit was. The list goes on. Trust me, if you want a version of Beauty and the Beast that's not like the Disney one at all, you can find it. It's out there. And finally, number 1, Cruella. Yep, I've talked about this movie before, but Cruella, so far, this might change in the future, is my number 1 best recent Disney reboot. Yes, it has its problems here and there. The changes to the 101 Dalmatians story are a little strange and make Cruella not all that cruel. And this might prove to be a bigger issue in the sequel, but for this movie, it all kind of works. This movie really doesn't focus on crapping all over the original story like Maleficent did. Instead, we get a fashion designer tit-for-tat battle that is actually very fun. Emma Stone and Emma Thompson are excellent in the movie. The costume design and makeup are appropriately bold and extravagant. The punky tone of the whole thing grows on you pretty quickly. As much as I thought Beauty and the Beast was decent enough as it was, this being a prequel, it presents a new story in a new style, making it feel fresher. In the end, this movie is not a masterpiece, okay? It's not flawless. It still does a lot of the things I don't like about reboots, but it tells its own story and it does it well. And at least it does it in a way that doesn't make you give up straight away and put on the original film instead. It's a slick, colorful, enjoyable, funny watch, and I was entertained watching it from start to finish. So that was my top 5 best Disney live-action reboots. Who knows, maybe one day I will update this list. Who knows what this list will look like in the future with like live-action Little Mermaid, live-action Hercules, oh my god, it's gonna be a weird list.
Oh goody.
What is your favorite? Let me know in the comments, and don't forget to like, subscribe, all this really boring stuff that I have to say every single time. And don't forget to hit that little bell below so you can get a notification when the top 5 worst video comes out. In the meantime, be good out there and take good care of your pets, because you never know when they're gonna kill someone's parents. That is a weird line to end this video. I'm gonna stick with it. Yeah.